So let's take a look at my tractor. I bought a John Deere, a 1990s. I don't know. I haven't looked at the model number yet. John Deere 1070 tractor. It's an older tractor, and the guy who owned it before me spray painted it to, I guess, cover some imperfections or whatever. That's how it goes. So it looks kind of a little bit ugly, but it is what it is. As is the case with most older tractors, previous users will do things to them to make the tractor work better for them. Unfortunately, a lot of other people have lower standards than I do, which means that they basically cobble shit together to make it work. And oftentimes it's wrong. Using spare parts that are laying around, using hoses that aren't meant to work in that situation. You know, doing things that ain't quite right, but just enough to make it work. And this tractor is it's no exception. So let's flip her around and I'll show you some stuff that's is and was broken. All right, so here we go. We had these two hoses were flopped. The problem with that is if you have a straight fitting on your ram, it sticks straight out, and it can, if you actuate the bucket or move the ram up and down here, you can actually break the hose. And no one wants hot oil spraying at 2200 psi all over themselves or the tractor or all over the damn place. So I swapped these two hoses, their positions, put the 90 up there, made sure the right fittings were in the right location, so the ram will not overextend and break a hydraulic hose. This hose, 36-inch, half-inch hose, hydraulic hose here, it actually, we knew it was failed when we went and looked at the tractor initially, because they had a little piece of napkin wrapped around that was soaking wet with hydraulic fluid. I got to actually make fun of my neighbor. Every time I bring his tractor over to my place, I break it somehow. His Kubota, I was clearing some of my woods down there and just dragging the bucket around, and the damn wheel literally just fell off. Like the whole spindle broke and it just gone. So that was pretty cool. So he went and put the bucket down and blew my hose. So I got to make fun of him a little bit for that one. Finally, he broke my tractor instead of me breaking his. There's been other incidents too where I've broke other tractors of his. Anyway, let's take a look at some of the weird stuff. So there's like a 12-foot log splitter on the back of this thing. This is all homemade, fabric cobbled. It's pretty stout for what it is, but the way it's hooked up leaves a little bit to be desired. We have another valve here, complete with a actuation handle, plumbed into the tractor's hydraulic system. The problem with that, this is fabric cobbled, right? So John Deere sells for approximately, I think, around $600 to $800 a kit that you can attach to the back of this. It comes with a big old plate up here with an in and out, and it's professional. You can hook a block up here, with levers and all that good stuff. But that concerns me. I mean, he's using effectively black pipe MPT fittings on here, converted to some JIC fittings, which it'll work, but it's a little sketch. They're not necessarily meant to handle the pressures that hydraulic stuff operates at. So, not great. We have, another valve up here to control the actuation of the ram. So I'm not entirely sure how that's supposed to be set to get this to work. But regardless, this is coming off of here. I don't have a very strong need to split a lot of wood, so I'll probably take this thing off and sell it. A couple $100 maybe, if someone can be convinced to take it. We got a ball hitch on the end of it here, so we can drag a cart behind it, I guess. We have a made-to-work canopy with an electric fan up there to keep the occupant cool. I'm assuming it's 12 volts since the, alternator puts out 12 volts, but we got some regular old household light switches up there with the household box. So that's cool. We have this switch here that I'm not entirely sure what it does, of actuated while the tractor's on. It doesn't appear to do anything. Not sure what that does. We had front wheels. When I got it, this one was flat. The Schrader valve in it was all, there's a little tiny push button on the Schrader that on your filler here for your air tank, it pushes in another valve on that. That was broken off on that Schrader valve, so I took it out, tried to put another Schrader valve in there, and still couldn't get any air in. So I stuck a screwdriver in there, and what came out on the screwdriver is a bunch of muck. Turns out they filled both front tires with calcium. I don't understand why they filled these tires with calcium, because you're only going to get a couple more pounds of weight. Filling rear tires is common because they're so big. You get a lot of weight out of those. Even if you fill them like 3/4 full, you get a lot of weight out of them. But to fill your front tires doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So cleared that out, put a Schrader valve in it, put a strap around it, tightened it up real good so the bead's set, and filled it full of air. And it holds air despite being run flat and crushed. So lots of cracks in the sidewalls, whatever. I sprayed it with some soapy water and it doesn't appear to leak, but we'll see. So I think those are, I measured them, they're 8-inch wide tires. I got some new tires sitting right there that are 6-inch. A little bit narrower helps with grip, so we'll see how they go. If I have to swap tires, if these tires, if they last, great, fine, whatever. But being that I've destroyed or broke a few parts, it's nice to have tires on hand in case I put a big old gash in these. So yeah, extra tires, old tires, whatever. The rear tires, like I said, have calcium in them. The problem with calcium is calcium chloride is effectively salt water. They add calcium to it to add weight to it. However, the problem is if you have a leaky Schrader valve like this, and they all eventually leak, it seems like, they can destroy your wheel, which is the case here. I've lost quite a bit of material from that leaking. So I got a guy who's going to help me out with breaking these tires down, getting the calcium out of them, putting air in them, because I don't need a super heavy tractor. I'm not pulling a big old implement off the back here. It doesn't make sense for me. And aside from that, I don't really care for calcium because it does this kind of stuff. But it'll give me an opportunity. He'll take the wheels off and I'll be able to clean the tires off the wheels, and I'll be able to clean these wheels up a little bit, hopefully. And hopefully this isn't so deep that I need to weld in a patch or buy a new wheel. Thankfully, wheels themselves without the center weight, they're like $154 for a new rim. So not super expensive, but it is what it is. What else is kind of jank on this? Seats all messed up like every tractor. Pretty much every implement or every machine that I've ever seen has a messed up seat when it's been used. Kind of strange coming from Kubota. I'm not really used to the high, medium, low shifter on this. This is the high, medium, low shifter. You can see over there on that sticker right there. Let me zoom in a little bit. So that sticker right there has 9 forward gears and 1, 2, 3 reverse gears. The problem is you have to figure out how to shift it into the different high, low, medium speeds. So when we look at this shift knob, we see first, neutral, second, and third. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me how you're supposed to do this. On a Kubota tractor, you have high, medium, shift it in a little bit, and different ranges over there too. So I'm sitting here on the tractor moving this thing back and forth, kind of thinking it's stuck or something like that. Well, it turns out that when you shift it into neutral, which is back, you have to push it down and then shift. So right now it would be in second or third, sorry. So if I put it in first gear over here, I'm effectively in, I don't know, 7th gear. Yeah, 7th gear. So that's going pretty fast. You can see there the speed ratings on it. 7th gear would be 11.1 miles an hour. 9th gear, which would be 3rd gear on the transmission, will be almost 20 miles an hour. I don't know about you, but I think 20 miles an hour on a tractor like this is probably a little sketch, and probably not the best thing in the world to do. I don't ever see myself having to go that fast. So, but overall for a 90s tractor, despite it being spray painted, looks fairly good. There's a few small things I need to fix on it, but for the most part it seems to be fairly okay. Transmission, being that it is a stick shift, you do have to shift into gears and you have to use a clutch. Problem is, when if anyone who's ever driven a stick before knows, there's going to be an engagement point on your clutch. As you come up, it's going to engage somewhere through that range. However, over time, your especially in agricultural equipment like this, your clutch disc is going to wear down some. So at this point in time right now, when we shift and release the clutch pedal up, it's about an inch from the top that it engages, which would indicate that the clutch disc is kind of worn out. Thankfully, underneath these panels there is a linkage that you can adjust where the clutch engages. Supposedly a very common thing. You just have to adjust them, and eventually you have to replace the clutch discs. The problem with that is tractors, unlike vehicles, use the entire drive line usually as a support member. What that means is, in order to replace the clutch, you have to remove the loader, remove all the paneling, split the tractor in half. So there's going to be a bunch of bolts on effectively the bell housing that support the tractor halves, and you have to roll the front of the tractor, the back of the tractor away from each other to pull it out. And look, scared the shit out of me. You have to effectively pull out a PTO shaft that's like 3 feet long from the back without bending it. So that's kind of cool. So yeah, tractor. All right, well, I'm gonna wrap this up. My wife is probably gonna yell at me about something stupid since she blew her horn at me. So yeah, runs good, engine runs nice, doesn't run the big ass log splitter, so whatever, we'll get there.